So this is my studio. This is where all the magic happens. Give you a quick tour. This is my DJ rig, pair of Technics SL1200 turntables with a Pioneer DJM 909 digital mixer. Down here is the, you can kind of spot the Serato Scratch Live interface, some Groove Glide, bunch of sample discs for my ASR 10 sampler. Back there is the case for my Ultimate Ears in-ear monitors. You can kind of see that they're labeled Donkey Master. Over here I have some records, actual real vinyl record cases. Coming up over this way, KRK V6, OG V6 is made in Huntington Beach, California. Down here is a sort of disused PC with a Digidesign M box. Korg EMX1 drum machine and synthesizer. Down here is this Mooer Shimverb pedal that I got recently. It's a shimmer reverb. Pretty neat, does cool stuff. Access Virus B, analog modeling synthesizer, kind of a classic. This thing's been all over pretty much every record I've made. Over here we have Ganesha, the Hindu god of the overcoming of obstacles. Very important to keep around in the studio. Over here we have the other KRK V6, little Mackie 1202, original MS 1202 before they did all the VLZs and whatnot. This is just kind of the Grand Central Station where stuff comes in from various spots around the room. Here we have original Korg EM1 drum machine and synthesizer. Up here is the, I call her the Gray Lady. She's the 9U Eurorack modular synthesizer. Kind of going down the modules and functions. The far left we have a Doepfer A190-3 MIDI to CV converter. These are a pair of tip-top Z3000 oscillators that I got from Alessandro Cortini of Nine Inch Nails and Sono EO. They're pretty much on everything I do. They sound great. This is a Synthesis Tech E340 cloud generator. It's a digital oscillator that kind of does clouds of sounds, really cool swarmy kind of sounding things. It's a wired noise ring made by Moleco Heavy Industry. They also make pedals and things like that, but this is based on a wired 300 circuit diagram made by a guy named Grant Richter. It's a noise generator, random voltage generator, clock generator, does a lot of things, really handy. Set of attenuators. This is a Subconscious Model 15 complex voltage controlled oscillator. Picked this up from Kevin Key of Skinny Puppy while I was on tour with Atari Teenage Riot last year. Really cool little piece of gear. This is also a Subconscious Communications Model 37 low frequency oscillator. Not using that one very much, but it makes a good pair with the Model 15, so I don't think I'm going to get rid of it. And down here is a wired boogie filter. It's based on a Buchla filter crossed with a Moog low-pass filter. It's a really great sounding filter that has multiple slopes. 6 dB, 12 dB, 18 dB, 24 dB. Right now I have it in the 18 dB mode. Over here is the wired Borg filter. It's also a Vactrol based filter based on Buchla and Korg MS-20 filter. This one's really gnarly sounding. It's got a lot of instability to it. Kind of howls, and I like that. A lot of the distorted wind sounds and things like that on the last Stair record were run through the Borg filter. That little guy with the blue knobs nestled in there, that's a Division 6 Filter SE3 that's based on a Prophet 5 filter. Then next to it is the you can't really see it, but it's tucked back in there. That's a Harvestman Polyvox filter. It's based on a vintage Soviet synthesizer that just sounds like a wild man. It's, again, very unstable, very unpredictable. Sounds awesome, grungy. Next to that is the Manhattan Analog Mix. It's a 3-channel, very clean mixer. Next to this is a Livewire Vulcan modulator. It's a dual cross-modulating low-frequency oscillator designed by a a great designer named Mike Brown who passed away a little while ago, and so Livewire products aren't really being made anymore, but they are really kick-ass and they're hard to find, so I'm really lucky to have this one. This is a Geiger counter made by a Denver company called WMD. It's a bit crusher, sample rate reducer, wavetable distortion. I like to call this the fuck shit up box, because anything you put into it pretty much just gets fucking destroyed and sounds awesome. This is an IntelliGel microfold. It's a wave folder. Next to that is a Pittsburgh Modular Mod, which is a ring modulator. Then the Doepfer A119 external input. This is something that can be used to take external signals outside the modular and put them into, you know, the filters on the modular, or be able to extract clock information from click track or something like that. Right now I'm using that to do that. Down here is suitandtieguy.com. It's a comparator. Basically works as a sub-octave generator. Whatever you put into it, it puts out a square wave, either 1 octave or 2 octaves below, with a little bit of variable pulse width. Then the 4MS rotating clock divider. It basically takes any incoming clock that you feed it and then divides it by 2, by 4, by 18, 16, 32, what have you, so that way you can have different rhythmic subdivisions off of a single clock. There's a nice big hole here where I used to have some stuff. I got some make noise stuff over the winter, but I didn't really jive with it too well. I had a maths and a pressure points in here, but I think I'm going to be putting some other things in here, some more noise sources and whatnot, so that should be pretty cool. Then over here are some pretty plain Jane Doepfer A140 ADSR envelopes. Just 2 different ones, one set for a short attack and release and one for a long and attack and release, depending on what type of sounds I want. Usually I just pop back and forth between the two. Then over here I have a pair of Moleco VCAs. They're dual VCAs, so I have a total of 4 VCAs in here. And then at the very end, the Pittsburgh Modular Outs, which is a headphone amplifier as well as a stereo output. That goes down to a line mixer at the bottom of this rack, which contains a Furman power module, a old school Mark of the Unicorn MIDI Express XT 8x8 MIDI interface, Novation, that's actually an A station by Novation. It was one of the first virtual analog synths I bought back in, must have been 2000 or so when this first came out. It's one of the first things I ever bought brand new at a music store. Everything else up to that point was secondhand. Waldorf Micro Q, cool little virtual analog synthesizer with some sick wavetable synthesis in it. This is an EMU Extreme Lead 1, kind of a rompler sound playback box. Just got some nifty stuff in it. I don't use it all that frequently. It's actually sitting in a hole that my Korg 01W used to sit in. The 01W it was broken, and then I fixed it, and then after I fixed it I never got a chance to throw it back in the rack. Neutrik 48-point patch bay for routing of things. Little Samson line mixer. It's not the greatest in the world, but it works. Mark of the Unicorn 896 HD audio interface. Down here underneath the 3-tier A-frame keyboard stand is the lid to the Gray Lady, the Mono Rocket 9U enclosure. And then in that case right there is my Roland Juno 106. It's a vintage analog synthesizer that I got from a very good friend of mine. And I take it out every once in a while. I use it to play live primarily because it's nice and portable, looks sexy, doesn't take a lot of work to set up. Here I have a Ensoniq ASR 10 sampling keyboard. This is a really great sounding sampler. It's one of the, in my opinion, one of the best sampling keyboards out there. Made prior to 2000, when the Korg Triton and stuff like that and the Yamaha Motif hit the market. This thing has great sounding converters in it. It doesn't have a lot of sample storage memory on it, but every piano sound on the new Stair record is being played off of this ASR 10. You can see the little piano sustain pedal down there, figured pretty prominently in a lot of things. A lot of drone patches use that sustain pedal as well. This is a Novation Supernova 2. This is kind of a motherfucker of an analog modeling synthesizer. A lot of the tracks that I do have a lot of Novation Supernova 2 on them. I find it really friendly to program on, and the sounds are pretty decent. I don't like the effects so much on the Supernova as I like the effects on the, for example, the Virus, but they sound decent and they're workable. And then on the top, primarily just used as a controller these days. This is my first keyboard I ever bought. It's a Roland XP10 synthesizer. It's really only a synthesizer in the most fundamental of regards. Doesn't sound that great, doesn't feel all that great, doesn't even look all that fancy. It's very plain Jane, but I'll never get rid of it, as it was the first keyboard I ever owned. Well, I've had crappy keyboards before, but this is the first real keyboard I ever owned. I had some Casios and some little shitty Yamahas that I still have. Yamaha Keytar, I'm probably going to give to Mike Bradbury from Go Fight and Dead on TV, because he likes Keytars. Then in this box here, you can see the kind of conspicuous Sequential Circuits logo there. That is actually a fairly well maintained, practically dead mint Prophet 610, aka the 6-track. She stays in the box most of the time, comes out every once in a while, but little sexy beast. Also cool to take out live because it's compact, has MIDI. It was one of the first keyboards to be equipped with MIDI, which was actually invented by Dave Smith of Sequential Circuits. Then here in the closet I've got all my old records, some Chris and Cozy up front there, some old goth records, The Wake, all my old Nine Inch Nails vinyl, Ministry vinyl, a lot of Wax Trax vinyl in these crates. Boxes for various stuff. Box of Purple Patch Cable wire stock, some drumsticks, boxes for my turntables, Waldorf, M-Box, Tractor, lots of boxes for Macs. Here's the box for my OG V6s, made in Huntington Beach, California, Surf City, USA, before they all moved to China. And boxes for my DT770s, blah 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 blah. And down here I have all the boxes for my modules that have been variously purchased from different places. In here I have keyboard stands, microphone stands, stuff I take out every once in a while, soldering station, soldering iron, all that kind of nonsense. So that's pretty much it. That's where the magic happens, man. I love it. It's my little home, my little Zen garden. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And hope you guys check out my songs. And I'll be seeing you guys soon at a live show or at a party or something. Take care.